All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Rocky Top Insider Postgame Show. My name is Rick Butler, joined here with Ryan Shumpert. As always, we are right here in Knoxville inside of Thompson-Boling Arena after a wild ending between the game between Missouri and number 6 Tennessee. Missouri defeats Tennessee by a score of 86-85 after a buzzer-beating three-pointer just right back here on the logo to make for Tennessee's second or back-to-back games to lose by a buzzer-beating three-pointer after the Vanderbilt game on Wednesday. Just a wild week here for Tennessee. But Ryan, what did you think about this game?
Yeah, I mean, well, the buzzer beater was a lot different this time than it was. An incredible shot nearly from half court, whereas opposed to the Vanderbilt game, really right where we're standing. Vescovy has a defensive breakdown, wide open three. So that was a lot different, but Tennessee still had plenty of opportunities to put that game away, or maybe not plenty. They had one golden one. Santiago Vescovy again at the line, 4.7 seconds, misses the first, and then the lane violation on Tobe Awaka the second. And really, I think it's easy to think of it. That's just, same as a missed free throw, and in a lot of ways it is. The score's the same.
Yeah.
But Missouri's out of timeouts, and the fact that it being a lane violation and Missouri getting the inbounded under their own basket in a dead ball situation, that really changed things a little bit. And obviously, it was still a near half-court shot. It wasn't like they got some amazing look, but another small thing that hurt Tennessee. And certainly that finish overshadows what was a fantastic comeback for Tennessee.
Yeah, and like you just said, I mean, that fantastic comeback was, a 17-point comeback there in the second half. Tennessee seemed dead and out of it for good stretches of this game where, man, whether it was tough shots or just kind of iffy defense along the way. Missouri was playing really well throughout this game. Tennessee, though, really put their foot down in the ground and said, hey, you know what? We are going to fight back in this game. And they did just that. Able to come back from that 17-point deficit, able to take the lead a couple times. But you just had that back and forth, between both of these teams in the last bit. And then you're right, just a couple of costly mistakes at the end of the game. The lane violation, the missed free throw. Those are the kind of things that, hey, in a close one.
Zakai Ziegler's fifth foul.
There you go.
Just silly.
Absolutely.
And Rick Barnes even said at one point there, and it wasn't right at the end of the game, but there were 4 straight possessions where Tennessee fouled and sent Missouri to the free throw line. When Missouri's offense, it was a really good night for Missouri's offense, but in that stretch they were struggling a little bit.
Sure.
And I think they made 7 out of those 8 free throws. That kind of kept them afloat when Tennessee could have potentially stretched out the lead. But again, some of those were normal fouls that, Missouri made good plays and Tennessee had to foul them for scoring baskets. But plenty of them, and most notably the Ziegler foul, was an avoidable mistake.
A really impressive second straight game from Tyreik Key, who kind of continues to emerge here in this stretch of, I guess, misfortune for Tennessee this week. But again, Tyreik Key once again emerges. Had a little bit of a slow start in the first half, and I think what you've sometimes been able to see from him throughout the season, especially maybe conference play, is if the start doesn't get off too hot, I think maybe the aggressiveness is not always there throughout the whole 40 minutes in the game. That's kind of how this game started, right? Did not do too much there in the first half. I believe maybe only had 2 points in the first 20 minutes, but boy, did he come out and just explode on the offensive end in the second half. Had 21 second half points, which, again, was really impressive. He kind of continues to come out of his shell a little bit for this Tennessee offense.
No, absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head about staying aggressive. He starts 1 of 6, and I think I wrote it in my quick takeaways. A lot of games, if he starts like that, he wouldn't even gotten to 6 shots because he was struggling to shoot the ball. And he makes 4 free throws, both of them in the bonus there. Tennessee got in the bonus really quickly in the second half, and that seemed like that really sparked him into a rhythm. He hit, I believe, 4 out of 5 threes at one stretch of play. I think he ended up with 5 threes that he made in the second half, and was really fantastic. And like you said, in what's been a pretty bad week for Tennessee, that's a positive, is what Tyreik Key gave them in back-to-back games.
So where do you think this leaves Tennessee kind of moving forward? Obviously, you got to pick up the pieces after this, and I know that you asked Coach Barnes about it as well, kind of how do you stay positive after this loss? Coach Barnes had plenty of positives to take away in the press conference, talking about just, hey, yes, he was proud of the way that the team was able to fight back. He was proud of some of the things that they were able to do on the court in that second half. But what do you think about this? Where does this team lead next, and what's on the horizon for the Volunteers?
Well, it's challenging, I think, to stay positive and not fold, essentially. It's going to take a lot of mental toughness, and I think you have to have some confidence in the team to do that, especially with the way they responded in the second half with that comeback. But at the same time, this was a week Tennessee needed 2 wins with how hard their schedule is down the stretch, and they got 0. That's a really big backbreaker, and Tennessee's seeding opportunities, even if they played well down the stretch, they're going to be falling down the seeding line. Not like they're going to be collapsing. They're going to be a 6-7 seed. I would be stunned if they fell lower than a 4, but 4 seed in the first round is a lot harder game. It's a lot harder game in the round of 32. So missed opportunities this week, not necessarily for huge wins, but wins that Tennessee needed because of what's down the hatch, and that's Alabama, who I think is the best team in the country, coming to town Wednesday. Then after that, 2 hard road games. You go to Kentucky and Texas A&M. Neither of those teams are great, but Tennessee struggled on the road this season, and I would say those teams are better than Vanderbilt, and I would say they're probably just as good, if not a little bit better than Florida as well.
Yeah. Hey, a couple quick injury notes before we get out of here today. Josiah Jordan-James did not play. If you saw the game, you obviously know that. Continues to be day-to-day with an ankle sprain, and then we learned after the game as well, Julian Phillips was out for the game after suffering a hip flexor injury. So that's kind of something to be monitored going forward. But hey, that's obviously 2 starters on Tennessee's team. I think they found a little bit of plenty of success there in the second half with a smaller lineup. But it's going to be interesting to see how Tennessee navigates these 2 injuries to 2 key players, on this team moving forward into a tough stretch.
Yeah, not only 2 starters, 2 guys play the same position. I mean, those are guys that have very similar roles in pretty similar games. So you mentioned Jemai Meshach. We talked about him a little bit earlier. He played a ton down the stretch. If those guys miss extended time, he's going to get a lot more runs. So it's again, I think that what stands out about it is it's 2 guys that do a lot of the same things and play at the same spot.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Also, Dennis Gates, the head coach of Missouri, did single out both Jemai Meshach and Tobe Awaka as the 2 players that kind of did give Missouri trouble. So take that for what it's worth. But hey, we still got so much to talk about for this game. We will have it all over on RockyTopInsider.com, so you can head over there to check it out. It will be great writing as always. Also, make sure to be checking out Rocky Top Insider on all different social medias, at Rocky Top Insider on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. We will see you back for the next one. But Ryan, I think that's going to wrap it up for us tonight.
I think so.
All right. Number 6 Tennessee falls to Missouri on a buzzer-beating 3-point shot by a score of 86-85 right here in Knoxville. Thanks so much for listening to the Rocky Top Insider postgame show. For Ryan Shumpert, I'm Rick Butler. We'll see you for the next one.